Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Friday Live on this day, Friday, the 20th of October. I am looking forward to catching up with you guys today. The sun is shining in Melbourne. Spring has sprung, so that's always exciting for me. And I look forward to seeing where we end up in today's live. You never quite know when I press live. I never quite know where we're going to end up. But I've got some questions here that people have sent through, and I'll give it a little bit more time for the live to filter through, so you guys know that I'm here. It is 12:45 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time here, and it is Friday the 20th of October. So I know for some of you it's still Thursday, so if you've just shown up or you're just seeing me come on, feel free to say hi. As always, I love to know where people are listening from, and if you have a question, as always, please post it in the comments below. I am currently live on Facebook and YouTube, so if you're there in YouTube land, thank you, hello, and let me know if you're listening in on YouTube, because I never quite know. I can see that there are viewers, but I can't see where you're from and whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. So if you are on YouTube, let me know, because I have no idea if anyone listens to me on YouTube. I'm still a little new to the YouTube channel thing. Anyway, it's an interesting day for me. It was this time last year that I lost my beautiful best buddy, Remy, my dog. If you ever go to my website, on the homepage of my website, there's a photo of my beautiful Remy, as I used to call him. He passed away very unexpectedly around this time last year. So I was just having a few moments reflecting on that and thinking about my best buddy. Because I work from home, and I have done for a long time, and I'm often on Zoom calls with my clients. Remy was just always by my side. I would always talk to him all day long. He was just wherever I went. So it was, I was thinking about it, thinking, wow, it's been a year already. It's been very fast. And in that year, I've got this other beautiful guy that's come into my life, Arlo, who is related to Remy, would you believe? And he's lying outside at the moment because he's too disruptive on my Facebook lives. He's not quite old enough to sit quietly while I talk. So, but Arlo has been a beautiful addition to my life, and I love him dearly. I do. I'm so grateful. But I was just thinking about my best buddy Remy today. He was my shadow, went everywhere I went. So I'm going to dedicate today's live to Remy. Haven't quite changed the homepage photo on my website yet, because I'm not quite ready to do that. So if you ever go to my website, fionalukeis.com.au, you'll see a photo of me there with Remy. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, because I didn't actually make a post last year when he passed. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I didn't put a post on social media. It was so raw, I couldn't do it. But anyway, a year's passed, so I just wanted to acknowledge him. Okay, so anybody who has a question that they want to ask me, pop it in the comments below. If there's something that you've heard me say in a previous live that you'd like some clarity around, feel free to pop it in the comments below. Or if there's something that you would like me to address today that's been playing on your mind, to let me know. Hey, Mick. Hi, Fiona. I love all of your posts. It's like a box of chocolates. Thank you, Mick. I appreciate that. And thank you again for saying hi. And if you've just joined us, please let me know where you're listening from, and feel free to say hi below. Now, I'm going to... hey, Fiona, totally understand. My boy is still my phone. My phone background. Yeah, I know. My boys to my phone background. They stay with us forever. They really do. I planted a tree. I don't know if you can see. Can you see that, the greenery there behind me? I've planted this weeping cherry, and Remy is buried underneath a weeping cherry, because I wanted him right behind me, because this is where I work and where I spend so much time. So he's right behind me, and the tree loses its leaves and it's and is a bare tree in winter, and it's just because it's spring. It's all the leaves are coming, and it's so it's kind of fitting that it looks like that a year on from his passing. So anyway, thank you, Fiona. I appreciate your comment. Anyone else who wants to say hi, let me know. And if you have a question, ask it below. So in saying that, I'm going to address the first question for today. So let me just bring the questions up. Okay, this isn't a question, but more of a statement that someone has sent in to me, but I wanted to read it out because I actually think that there's something important here that can be shared with you guys. So this is someone who's bought my ebook has sent me in this email saying, "Hi Fiona, I'm currently going through a separation where my wife of 30 years has told me she loves me but is not in love with me. That we have drifted apart, and she now needs to find herself, love herself, which I understand. I have played a big part in this by not communicating, playing ostrich, and putting my head in the sand. She was waiting for me to fight for her and address the issues, which I did not. I don't want to lose her, but understand we both need to find ourselves again to possibly be together in the future. We are both 47 and have 2 children living at home, 21 and 18 years old. I'm shattered and angry at myself for not confronting the issues and seeking help out. She told me that at least that would have shown that I cared." I wanted to read that out. Hey, David. Hi. Happy Friday to you, David. Thanks for saying hi. I wanted to read this out because, number one, this is a very common thing that this kind of emails get sent to me. Very, very common. So if you are in that situation, I want you to know it's super, super common. All right. You're not alone. It breaks my heart when I receive emails like that. It really does. And I receive them a lot. So I wanted to just address this because even though there's not a question there, there's a couple of things that I want to bring up about this. The first thing that I want to say is, number one, it takes courage and humility and all of those things to admit when you've played a part in something. And our ability to recognize our contribution to a situation or a problem is paramount. And people struggle with this. And we struggle with this because, and one of the reasons we struggle with this is because we are not comfortable in our own skin, and we feel like there's something we need to hide. We become defensive. We don't want to take a look at something that does that make sense? We become defensive. We justify. We become self-righteous. We reflect. We deflect, and that is a sign. If you are doing that you're not very comfortable in your own skin. Now, the other thing I just want to say is, if you find yourself doing that, and I've done it, I lived my life like that for years, okay, and I'm just very grateful that I don't now, or I don't as much. I'm not going to say I never do. That would be a very big stretch of the truth, okay? But compared to where I was and where I am now, it's massive, the difference. But I can see that the reason I did that is that I was living my life from fear and insecurity a lot, okay? And I didn't have that relationship with myself where I was comfortable in my own skin. Now, a big factor about being comfortable in your own skin is that you're comfortable with your insecurities, okay? You're comfortable with your insecurities. Or another word for insecurities would be frailties. You're comfortable with them. Most people can't say this, all right? Most people can't say this because they see their insecurities as this aspect of themselves that they need to fix and change and overcome, and they don't want to look at because they look at them through a lens of shame, like that's something wrong, that they shouldn't be here, right? And so this just keeps us stuck in the same pattern where we deflect, we get defensive, we go from 0 to 100. We talk over the top of someone and say, "I don't do that. I only do it because you do this." Or, "Yeah, you're just attacking me. You always do that. Doesn't matter what I do. It's never enough." These are all the different ways in which we deflect and we push something away. All right. And when we do that, we are destroying goodwill. We are not communicating. We're focusing more on the me, and there's no focus on the we. Okay. And so when you do that, and you're looking at here and you're blaming your partner and saying it's you, you're the reason I feel this way. It's you. If you didn't do this, I wouldn't do this. You're just missing this amazing opportunity to not only connect with another human being, but for you to feel comfortable in your own skin. I can't tell you how freeing that is. This is something that should be important to all of us, to be comfortable in our own skin. And I want to preface that being comfortable in your own skin does not mean that you've got to eradicate a part of yourself. Being comfortable in your own skin is being comfortable with your frailties. I know my frailties. I can be a little too intense at times. I can have too much going on in my head at times. I can be a little bit dogmatic at times with what I think matters, and you know what I mean. I can just be a little bit too much at times. I know this about myself. I don't see that as something for me to be ashamed of, right? I just know I'm a passionate woman, and I've got things that are really important to me. And I guess the flip side of that is that there's this aspect where I can be a bit too intense, and I can be a little bit too dogmatic, and I can be a little bit too in my train of thought at times, right? And I can miss stuff. I know that about myself. It's not something that I feel I need to eradicate, but I do, because I know that about myself. I recognize when I'm there, right? I recognize when my insecurities are out. And when I do that, I factor that into my experience. And I factor it in like this. Well, Fiona, you're being a little bit intense right now. Okay, cool. Lower your expectations of everything, okay? And be patient with yourself. Now, because I don't see that as, oh God, I'm terrible, there's something wrong with me. And in other words, I'm not looking at my frailties through a lens of judgment. I see them for what they are. I understand when I'm there, and it helps me understand how to navigate things in my life, right? It changes because my understanding of me and where I'm at, that now I factor that into my exchange. So it might mean, okay, Fiona, your mind's racing, you're a little bit intense. Probably a good time not to speak right now. Wait until your mind settles. Like, I know where I am. That is extraordinarily helpful. It's extraordinarily empowering. And it means that if my husband said to me, and I was actually sharing this with my relatable members during the week, that my daughter and I had a moment last Sunday over how you measure stirrup leathers. How do you measure stirrup leathers? We had a disagreement about it, and I felt she wasn't listening to me, and she felt I wasn't listening to her, and she kind of stormed off downstairs. And I then said to my husband, you know, Kiara needs to blah blah. I can't even remember what I said. And my husband said to me, "Babe, you're being really intense." Now, because I'm comfortable in my own skin, right? I had a look at myself and I went, he's right. I am. And I said, you're right. I am being a bit intense right now. Thanks for letting me know. And I went downstairs and I had a different conversation with my daughter. Now, when you're not comfortable in your own skin, this is how you react to information like that. I'm not being intense. You always pick her side. Why do you never pick my side? Why don't you listen to me? I don't think I'm being intense. I'm just trying to explain something. And as usual, you're not listening. See the difference? Now, see the impact that has in a moment of now? I've got the humility and grace to go, yeah, I am a bit. Yeah, that's me. I do that sometimes. Okay, cool. I can see that. And I acknowledge it. I own it. And I'm able to do it because I'm not ashamed of it. I know that that's just where I go sometimes. It doesn't mean that I can do whatever I want. I don't mean that. But because I'm comfortable there, I understand that's an aspect that's just what happens sometimes when my mind races. You all have places that you go when your mind races. You all have aspects of this in yourself, right? Now, when you're comfortable with that, you're more gracious about it, right? I can be gracious about that and go, yeah, you're right. I am doing that. When I'm not comfortable, there's no humility, and I'm not gracious with it. I'm defensive, I'm argumentative, I reflect, and I can say things like this. I'm not comfortable. I'm being intense. You don't know how intense you were yesterday. Do you know? Blah, blah, blah. See? Reflect, reflect, reflect. And then, of course, my husband doesn't feel like he can say anything. I'm defensive. My tone gets high-pitched. And can you see how things go pear-shaped? And then that connection gets lost. Now, people do this with each other again and again and again. And then before you know it, the only thing that's on display are your insecurities. And so part of this starts with how comfortable you are with you, okay? Instead of expecting yourself to be this perfect person. Insecurities are a natural part of the human condition. Everybody has them. They are not going anywhere, and you cannot make them disappear. I really need you to know this. You can't personal development that stuff away, right? You can't. It's just not how it works, right? And so the more you understand that, the more you work with it, right? Now, I really want to make a point about that because this is why I talk about being comfortable in your own skin. This is something that my students in Relatable say to me all the time. I have never been so comfortable in my own skin. I cannot believe how differently I feel. I have less thinking about it. My mind is quiet. I'm able to be present. I'm more emotionally available. Like it's just made such a massive, massive, massive difference. I did not know what a difference that would make in my quality of life, the quality of my connections, and the quality of every single relationship. Just that one thing, let alone a couple of the other things, but just that, because this doesn't happen. Most people are not comfortable in their own skin, right? They're just not. And if you are, I'm not saying that as though there's something wrong with that. It's just a lack of understanding. When you have understanding, that's what becomes available to you. So that's the first point I want to make based on what was sent here. One of the reasons why this person was not communicating, playing ostrich, digging their head in the sand, is because they weren't comfortable in their own skin. All right. Now, the other thing that I want to say around this, where this person has said, I'm shattered and angry at myself for not confronting the issues and seeking out answers. I get that, right? I get that. It's really painful when you can look at something from a different perspective and feel so much regret. Okay, regret is painful. I get that because you can see that moment, that pivotal moment where you could have done something else and created a different outcome, right? And when we look back at those moments, it's very painful. I completely appreciate that. However, if you are in a moment like that, where you are experiencing regret and you're looking back and you're seeing the moment, that pivotal moment where you could have chosen something else and created something different, right? Those moments, looking back at them through the lens of judgment does not help you at all. It's just more of the same, okay? That's more of the same stuff. So looking back at yourself through the lens of judgment and being angry, right? I just want you to know, I'm not saying this is wrong. Don't hear this as wrong, but I want you to hear what you lose when you do that. See, when you look at yourself through the lens of anger and judgment, you don't grow. You don't get access to the insights that you need. You don't get to see things from a perspective of what you need to learn. You're just hammering yourself into the ground. That is more of the same stuff that has you not want to take a look, not be comfortable in your own skin. That just contributes to not being comfortable in your own skin. It's just a pile on. Okay. So it doesn't actually have you create any change. You will just, when you do that, right? When you look at something and you're judging yourself and you're angry with yourself and you're making yourself wrong, I really need you to understand this. This is very important. Your ability to do something else is very limited. Your ability to create change is very limited. Your ability to access an expanded state of mind, which is the only way we can really create long-term sustainable change, the ability to show up from a different energetic frequency is not there. Okay? So it's very important. If you have a realization about something, about yourself, whether it be, oh my God, I was angry, I was in denial, I didn't try hard enough, or I was really arrogant, or I didn't listen, or whatever it might be, okay? Whatever your realizations are, you need to see them as the gift that you've been given. There's a gift in having a realization, truly, because realizations create awareness. Without awareness, you got nothing. Truly, if we didn't have the gift of awareness, we would not have any idea of where we were. We wouldn't know if we were angry. We wouldn't know if we were sad. We wouldn't know if we were happy. Awareness is this gift that allows you to see where you are. And that's what enables you to make decisions, choose something else. It gives you that ability, the gift of choice. Realizations are these incredible gifts, right? Now, if you don't see a realization of yourself through the lens of a gift, which is a very loving, compassionate way to look at yourself, you won't learn what you need to learn from that realization. It's just a waste because you're just doing the same thing you always do. Judgment, ego, the narrow focus and perspective. There's no change from there. Can you see that? It's just more hammering yourself in the ground. It's just more repeat, repeat, repeat. We evolve, right? We evolve when we see the gifts that we have been given. When we see that moment of waking up, right? You've got to see this. If you've been behaving in a way that's causing harm, right? Even an unintended harm, right? Where maybe you've yelled at someone, or when I say yelled at someone, that's not what I mean, but where you haven't been listening, you've been sticking your head in the sand, doing what this person has said in their email, not actually listening in and putting yourself out there. You've been too scared to confront stuff or seek answers. If you've got a partner that's saying to you, we need help, we need to do something, you're like, I'm fine, I don't need help, where you're brushing their concerns away, where you're not listening. And then you have a realization that that's what you've been doing, right? It's very important. If nothing will change if you don't see that realization as a gift, because that gift has just woken you up. When you're doing the whole, we're fine, it's not a big deal, everything's fine, you're asleep at the wheel. You're asleep. That's what being asleep looks like. And then you have a realization and it wakes you up. Oh my God, I've been so arrogant. Oh my God, I've been so negative. Oh, I haven't listened. Oh, I've just projected all of my stuff onto someone else. That's a wonderful, wonderful thing because it wakes you up. And until you wake up, you won't create any change. Nothing will be any different. So I cannot tell you that the gift of realization, what it brings, and then you need to look at what it is you need to do and the lesson you need to learn through the gift of realization. All right? Because that's what gives you access to things such as humility and grace. That's what wipes the ego clean of shame and fear and judgment, which just keeps us small. I cannot tell you the importance of humility and grace as you navigate your life, navigate your insecurities, and create connection and the types of relationships that are playful, fun, connected, where there's lots of goodwill, where you can't wait to see one another. I hope this is making sense. If you've got any questions around what I'm saying, let me know. But if you've had a realization and you're looking at yourself through the lens of judgment, please don't do that, because you're just wasting the gift that you've been given. All right? There's just more ego upon ego, right? That's not going to give you access to what you need. Okay. Next question. Hi, Fiona. I have 3 beautiful sons who I just adore. However, when I have insecure thinking or see other mums with daughters, I can't shake this longing for a daughter I will never have. I feel like there is no place for this, as I'm so lucky to have my boys and wouldn't change them for the world. How do I deeply reconcile with what experience life has given me and not waste time grieving for what is not there? I can't help keep these lingering thoughts that I'm missing out on something. Hang on, before I answer this, I can just see there's a lot of comments here. Hey, thank you, everybody. Hey, Rose. Hey, Sandy. Hi, Mona. Thank you. Hi, Jeanette. Hello, hello. Hey, David. So great that you can see that, right? Without the gift of awareness, we can't see it. I love that. It's so important that you can see that. Truly, this is where it begins. Without awareness, you got nothing, right? I've given space and goodwill and many apologies for nearly 12 months without being loaded. I realize it is having an expectation. Yes, you do. That's right. Well, it's not that people are a low level. It's just you've got to understand, you can be apologized and you can say whatever you want to someone, but some people just don't want you in their life, right? For whatever reason, that's just not what they want. And they're allowed to make that decision. Right? I think it's hard for us sometimes because we think, if I'm nice enough, if I do this enough, if I do that enough, I'll get what I want. You have to understand you can do whatever you like, and the other person just may reach a point where they just don't want you in their life. It's not personal, it's just where they are. And that's why it's so important to be able to look inside yourself and say, hang on, I've done everything I can. And that person has free will. They can choose whatever they like. They are allowed to have whatever experience they have. That's on them. I've done whatever they can, and I've got to let that go. So the lesson then becomes about letting go, rather than I'm going to keep trying and hopefully that will change their mind. You know what I mean? Like, we can't change someone's mind that doesn't want to be changed. That's up to another person. But it's making peace with what is. Our suffering always lies when we resist what is. There is a capacity to make peace with what is, which very much leads into this question that's been sent into me. All right. So I'm going to come back to what this lady's posted. She's got 3 beautiful sons, and I get that. I had 3 sons, and then I had my daughter. All right. So I had 3 sons, and my last child was a daughter. But I will say to you, I went into that pregnancy with 0 expectations that I would have a girl. I just because they say that each time you have a same-sex child, each time you have, whether it be a boy or a girl, the chances of having that same sex again increase. I don't understand the ins and outs of all of that. So, but that's just what I was told. So I was like, when I was pregnant with my daughter and we didn't find out, I just thought it's probably another boy. That seems to be what I do well. But I understand there's that part of you, or there's thinking of what would it be like, that curiosity, what would it be like? And that's, I guess the first thing I want to say is it's a very natural human thing. We always have curiosity. And you think about it with anyone that doesn't have something that they have a preference for, okay? Now, understand that there's a difference between a preference and a fact, okay? The preference is just, an idea that we have. Oh, it'd be really nice if I had $1 million, or it'd be really, $1 million isn't a lot of money these days, I guess, but whatever. It'd be really nice if I had a holiday house, or if I went to a trip to Fiji, or if I had a different car, or if I was in a relationship, or if I'm not a parent, it'd be really nice to be a parent. Like, we all have preferences, we all have desires, we all have dreams, we all have moments where we want something that we don't have. And I guess what I want to address is that in of itself is very human. It's very natural. It's very normal. It's very human. The reason why I'm making such a point of saying this is very normal and natural and human is because often when we have something that we don't want and we have a yearning, we feel that that's a bad thing. I shouldn't be feeling this way. It's not okay for me to feel this way. I should just be grateful for what I have. And can you hear my language? I should be grateful for what I have. I shouldn't feel this way. I should recognize how lucky I am. It's not okay. And this is actually where the suffering lies. The suffering is not in the yearning. The suffering or the preference or the desire. The suffering lies when we feel that it's not okay for us to feel that way. We shouldn't feel that way. I shouldn't think like this. I shouldn't have this feeling. I should just be lucky. That's where the suffering comes, because that's when we resist our experience, and then we're not able to make peace with where we are. You can make peace with the fact that sometimes you won't have peace, right? I'm going to say that again. You can make peace with the fact that sometimes you won't have peace. Just like I make peace with the fact that sometimes I can be a bit intense, right? Sometimes I can be a bit narrow-minded and dogmatic in my thinking. Sometimes I go there. I make peace with that. And so I don't resist it. It means that I'm more comfortable with it. I'm not trying to hide it and overcome it and fix it and manage it, which is utterly, utterly exhausting and really quite, what's the word? Unhelpful, because that still just shows up from time to time. It's not going anywhere. Frailty is a part of the human condition. Yearning and having a preference for something is totally normal and natural. So first of all, what I want to reassure you, just because you have a yearning for that at times, just because you have that's on your mind, does not mean that you don't love your boys, that you don't feel blessed and lucky. It doesn't diminish that at all. All right. I really want you to know that. It doesn't diminish anything. If you think it diminishes something, it's only because you think it. It's not actually because it does diminish something. It's just understandable. It's not this dirty secret that you have to carry around. It's just a normal, natural part of being human. We all have, every single person on this call, if they were really honest with themselves, has a yearning for something they don't have, right? It's totally normal and natural. Whenever we look at what's normal and natural, we feel calmer. You see that? Does that make sense to people? Whenever we look at what's normal and natural, we feel calmer. We're better able to make peace. Most people are under the mistaken belief that the only way to make peace with something is to eradicate it, get rid of it, right? Which sets us up for failure massively. Because every time we have that thought, we see that as a problem and an issue, right? Rather than, that's just what happens sometimes. But it doesn't take away from the fact that you love your boys and that you feel blessed and all of those things. That's just where you go sometimes. All right. There's a whole lot more I could say about that, but I don't want to keep this simple for now. Just that's where I want to leave that for now. Okay. Now I just want to do a quick check-in with the guys that are on the call. Hey Rick. Hi, Fiona. What a great gift to step back and look at ourselves without judgment and even with humor. Yes, I agree. It is a great gift. That's why I call us the funny little human, because we are pretty funny. We do tie ourselves up in knots and we do overcomplicate life massively, but we all do it. It's very human and it is at times very funny, truly. Yeah, look, regret can be very painful, David. I agree. But when we look at it through the lens of a gift we've been given and an opportunity to learn, it doesn't look so painful, right? That's all. There's just that other potential around that. Hi, darling. Hello. Thank you for saying hi. And Andrew, it's always lovely to know that you're around, Andrew. Hi, Andrew. Now, I just want to check in with you guys with what I've been talking about. What are you hearing? Is this making sense? Does this resonate? Do you have any questions about it? Has that changed something for you? I'd love to know, because everything that I talk about, and the more deeply you see some of the things I'm pointing to here, all of this helps our relationships, all of it, right? Every single aspect of it. The more comfortable you are, the more emotionally intelligent you are, the more present you are, the more grounded you are, the more compassionate and understanding you are, the more emotional bandwidth you bring. All of those things are brilliant for our relationships. Okay. The quicker you get over things, the less you hang out in the past. All right. So all of these things that I talk about are very, very, very helpful for our relationships. When you can recognize that a yearning for something or wanting something or having a preference for something you don't have is a very normal, natural part of the human experience, and it doesn't diminish. It doesn't mean it takes away from where you are. It doesn't mean anything about you, is also a very important thing, because that's something that is most people have an experience of, right? And then we make that mean all sorts of things because we're meaning-making machines. And it's the meaning that we make rather than the yearning that always creates the problem, right? So yeah, if someone wants to let me know if this is resonating, making sense, that would be great. I do have a couple of other questions, but I'm coming up close to the end of the live, and I'm going to leave those for next week. Otherwise, I'm going to rush through them, and I want to do those questions justice. So if you have sent a question into me, I will, and you haven't answered it today, I promise you will get answered next week. I'm about 2 or 3 questions behind generally at the moment. I have done quite a bit of catching up lately. So send your questions through, and I will do my very best to answer them. If you do have a question that you want me to answer, send it through to hello@fionalukeis.com.au and just say Friday Live Q&A, and I'll answer it for you. If you do, if you want to know more about my relatable program, okay, my wonderful, wonderful relatable program. We've had such amazing calls this week. They've just been incredible. Truly, the conversation we have there is just, It's amazing. Then if you want to know about my Relatable program, you can book a chat with me and find out more about it. I'm going to put the link to the chat. Someone asked me to put the link to the chat in the live. They said they couldn't see the links in the replay or something. So thank you all for letting me know that this is making sense and helpful. If you've got any questions, thank you, Jeanette, Darlene, Rick, Sandy, Mick. Awesome. If you have any questions about anything that I've spoken about, post it in the feed here, or send me a question and I'll address it for you next week. All right. Again, thank you everyone for being here. It is always a joy and a privilege to spend this time with you, and I really, really appreciate everything that you share and how you show up to these lives every week, truly, because there are ripple effects that come from these lives that you would not believe. So many people watch the replay and email me in and find your questions helpful and are grateful for this. So keep showing up, keep asking me questions. Let's keep those ripple effects moving and flowing out there into the world. All right, everybody, take care now. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. Ciao. Ciao, Rick. Bye, Mick. Ciao.